Sometimes I think of the lovers I've missed, the nights of adventure, lips left unkissed, and I sigh and I wonder if only I had wandered. Then I look at you and I smile to myself, 'cause I know I chose the moon. I left the stars behind. I chose the moon. And you know I don't mind when the moon shines. It shines through your eyes, so warm, so wise. The moon. Sometimes I think of the day that we met, our first conversation. I didn't expect your gaze would be so steady, my heart would be so ready, that when I looked at you, I would know then and there what to do. I chose the moon. I left the stars behind. I chose the moon. And you know I don't mind when the moon shines. It shines through your eyes, so warm, so wise. The moon. Isn't it human to think of what would be, of a different road, a different life, a different you and me? I guess I'm like the wild, wild sea, who needs the moon above to guide me with your sweet and gentle, unsentimental love. I chose the moon. I chose the moon. And you know I don't mind when the moon shines. It shines through your eyes, so warm, so wise. The moon. I chose the moon. I left the stars behind. I chose the moon. And you know I don't mind when the moon shines. It shines through your eyes, so warm, so wise. The moon. So warm and oh, so wise. The moon. Welcome to my show, From the Inside Out. A moment of music and conversation around the artist's journey. When I first performed I Chose the Moon, written by Bill Contos and Mark Winkler, Mark was actually in the room. Tonight, I've invited him to join me for this first episode. But first, a little bit of history. Lola Montez was an Irish-born Spanish dancer and mistress of King Ludwig I of Bavaria. She then moved to San Francisco and became a gold rush vamp and the inspiration for whatever Lola wants. I usually do this song in a brazen way. Tonight, I'd like to dial it down with the help of Amarillo on guitar. After all, our dreams and desires often show up in the quiet moments. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets, and little Lola wants you. Make up your mind to have no regrets. Recline yourself, resign yourself, you're through. I always get what I aim for, and your heart and soul is what I came for. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. Take off your coat. Don't you know you can't win? I always get what I aim for, and your heart and soul is what I came for. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. Take off your coat. Don't you know you can't win? You can't win. Mark Winkler is a Platinum Award-winning singer and lyricist whose hundreds of songs have been performed or sung by artists such as Sarah Gazarek, Diane Reeves, and Dee Dee Bridgewater. We got together a little while ago and he shared with me a few moments of his artist's journey.
But my mom was great because when people would be singing on TV or on the records playing, she would analyze it, and she was very opinionated, much like me. And she would go, she's over singing, she's showboating. She did this all while she was making me food because she was a great cook. So she was making me matzo brie, an egg or something. And then she was showing me how to sing Night and Day by Cole Porter.
Was there a moment where you realized this is something that I would like to pursue professionally?
I was 9 years old. I remember it exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had a box set of Sarah Vaughan.
Oh, my
9 years
God.
old. You know?
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know, and I just love to sing. And, you know, I don't even think I wasn't good at that point, but I love singing, and I decided I wanted to be a singer. And I was very nervous to tell my mother. And I think I told her when I was 10. And she said, of course, you're going to be a singer. You know, it was like no big surprise to her. I mean, all we did in the house was sing and talk about singers. So, you know,
right.
Big deal, you know, that I wanted to be a singer. But to me, I was very nervous about singing.
Right. It was close to your heart.
Yeah, it was very close to my heart.
We had the conversation about August Afternoon where you told me.
Well, August Afternoon is one of your songs. That was on your first album, and I helped you with it. Yes,
you did. In a way I will always remember. And for me, like, maybe that was part of why I was so intimidated by you, aside from the billion songs that you penned.
Right.
But it's one of the things I love about you is your willingness to speak your truth. You teach in a few places, and it's a generous thing to share one's craft and to share one's wisdom. It's a very generous thing. What, you know, at what point did you realize that that's something you wanted to do?
You know, to me, it's one of my favorite things to do. I just love teaching people. And when somebody's good, there's nothing like it. You know, I always wanted to be a teacher. I admire teachers a lot. And when it was about 17 years ago, I was having a really bad time. I was working on a musical, and it was very frustrating at that moment, and I wasn't very happy. And I thought to myself, you know, honestly, how can I make myself happy? And I thought, oh, I'll teach. But I had taken songwriting classes, and that had changed my life. So I made my syllabus, and I started teaching one-on-one. And then I started teaching at different places. I taught at the Learning Annex, then I taught at the Songwriters Guild, and then I met a wonderful guy at the Songwriters Guild, and he got me into UCLA Extension. And then I've been teaching there for 15 years. I'm very down to earth about my teaching. I love inspiration, but I realize most of it is perspiration. Dare to be bad. It's no big deal. I said, you're going to get good from, you know. I said, maybe you'll write something really good. You know, I wrote a really good song early on in my songwriting career, and I didn't write another good song for another year or 2 years. So things happen how they happen. And you will get better. If you keep working at it, you will get better.
I love your song, Your Cat Plays Piano.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
It's a fun song to sing.
It just makes me smile every time. I know it's an older one, but you know, when you're talking about the lyrics and everything and all of the imagery that shows up in that song is, you know, there's the green, you know, night table.
Yeah, you mentioned
there's
that.
The collection of Slinkies.
Well, my husband collected Slinkies. Matter of fact, I have a 50-year anniversary Slinky, a gold Slinky.
Oh, wow.
I guess Slinkies liked him or something. I don't know. But he always had a Slinky on his desk when he was at work. He was an executive at Warner Brothers. And
yes.
So I put in the Slinkies for him. You know, when I pick songs for my record that aren't written by me, the criteria is that it has to really affect me. In the Shadow of Your Smile. I've been singing that song for 17 years, since I was 17. And to be honest, when I first started singing it on the album, I thought, well, I don't know what this song's about. And I started thinking about it. And then I really clued in on what it was about. And it was about Richard, my husband who passed away. And remembering the love we had, but now it's gone. but I remember the shadow of the smile. I remember the afterglow of it. And that gave me the wherewithal to sing it.
One day we walked along the sand, one day in early spring. You held a piper in your hand to mend its broken wing. Now I remember many a day and many a lonely mile, the echo of a piper's song, the shadow of a smile. The shadow of your smile when you are gone will color all my dreams and light the dawn. Look into my eyes, my love, and see all the lovely things you are to me. Our wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kissed your lips, and so did I. Now when I remember spring, all the joy that love can bring, I will be remembering the shadow of your smile. Wistful little star was far too high. A teardrop kissed your lips, then so did I. Now when I remember spring, all the joy that love can bring, I will be remembering the shadow of your smile. The shadow of your smile. One day we walked along the sand.
I read someplace that you were invited to dinner at David Benoit's place.
Yeah, let me tell you the story. And what happened is his Japanese tour had been canceled. So he was home, but his wife, who was Japanese, was stranded in Japan. She had gone ahead to be with her mother.
Oh, wow.
And so he was home alone. Hold on, my dog is at the door. Well, of course she wants my attention.
What's her name?
Stella.
Hi.
Okay, she'll be fine on my lap. I go to David's house on that Saturday with my boyfriend Michael, and he cooks us a really nice meal. Who knew he was a good cook? And then afterwards, he has a 9-foot grand piano in his living room. So of course I want to sing. You know, I love pianos. So we go around the piano, and I said, oh, you know, David and I have written a lot of songs together. And I said, oh, let's do this one and let's do that one. And then when we got to The Shadow of Your Smile, which I've been singing since I was 17 years old, and David's been singing it, playing it for years, he looked at me and he said, let's record an album together. Why haven't we done that? But I never would have been able to get all that rehearsal with him if there hadn't been the pandemic, because David is always on the road. David Benoit, who is a famous piano player, I never would have gotten that time with him if it hadn't been for the pandemic. So that was.
So it's kind of like a COVID silver lining.
You got it. It's one of the silver linings for the COVID pandemic. Yeah. And there are silver linings, you know. I cleaned my garage, like, for example. My garage is beautiful now. And it's because of the pandemic. I know where everything is, which is just an amazing thing.
Yeah.
It gives label. It makes my Virgo heart very happy.
You know, on the album, like, there's A Quiet Place that made me smile.
You know, it's a famous instrumental of David Benoit's. And they play it on jazz radio and smooth jazz radio. They've played it for 30 years. So
that's why it seems so familiar.
Yes. It's his most famous song. And I've been trying to write lyrics for it for 30 years. And I knew that they had to be really good or I couldn't show it to David. So it took me 30 years to write those lyrics. With Shelley Nyman, you know. We wanted to do our favorite composers that we grew up with. And David loved Henry Mancini. You know, that was his favorite. So we knew we had to do a Henry Mancini tune. And I've always loved Two for the Road. I always thought it was a great song.
Yeah.
Then we brought Barbara Brighton in, my producer, who was fantastic. And she and David just hit it off. So that was a lucky thing.
Yeah. And then there's I Wish I'd Met You.
Oh, I love that song. I never knew that song. I was.
Neither did I.
Yeah, it was by Johnny Mandel, who David Benoit loves, and I love him too. He wrote, you know, The Shadow of Your Smile. And that was a song that was given to me by the song scout, Roger Crane. And I asked him for Johnny Mandel songs, and he gave me about 6 songs. And that was one of them, and I loved it. I love the melody, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and then the lyrics. There's, you know, I heard the lyrics and, you know, the song, the way the song starts and it's telling a story of seemingly regret. And then it flips and you realize that this person has the wisdom of their age to say, no, it's perfect that we're meeting now. Yeah. It's so fabulous.
It is. And you know, it's a song about, I can sing because I'm a person who's not 20 years old, you know? So there's a lot of songs about wisdom and age in this in this album. You know, things about time passing, and it's you know, it's a very meaningful album to me. Considering I only wrote 3 songs on it, I'm very touched by the album.
Some Other Time touched my heart on there.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was
magical. David was friends with Leonard Bernstein for a brief period of time, and naturally really admires him, you know, of course. And so that was something that we knew we were going to do. That's probably right up there. I love a lot of his songs, but that's right up there.
Yeah.
I love singing that song.
There's a moment towards the end. It's after the piano solo. Like there's where you say, oh, well.
Oh, yeah.
And there is so much emotion in the way you say those 2 words that, like, it's not, like, from the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, wow. And it was just perfect, the way, the emotion that is captured in those 2 words. It says it all.
Wow, thank you. I think that's one of the more interesting things in the song is that phrase, oh, well. And I do it sort of differently every time.
Where has the time all gone to? Haven't done half the things we want to. Oh well, we'll catch up some other time. This day was just a token. Too many words are still unspoken. Oh well, we'll catch up some other time. Just when the fun is starting, comes the time for parting. But let's be glad for what we've had and what's to come. There's so much more embracing still to be done, but time is racing. Oh well, we'll catch up some other time. Just when the fun is starting, comes the time for parting. But let's be glad for what we've had and what's to come. There's so much more embracing still to be done, but time is racing. Oh well, we'll catch up some other time. We'll catch up some other time.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of that, Mark. Oh my God.
I know, I shared it all.
I think you're blushing.
I am.
Mark Winkler's new album, Old Friends, is already streaming on all of the platforms. And his new single, I Could Get Used to This, is gonna drop in about a week. And then on August 20th, you can find him at Vitello's. August Afternoon is my first recorded original and the title track of my EP. Mark heard it when I was workshopping it around town, and he shared his thoughts with me. It went a little something like this. Great song, but that line about tears of gloom, you can do better. I was so honored that someone of his caliber would take the time to give me his feedback. And he was right. It was a cool and sunny Sunday afternoon. We met to chew the fat, discover what would bloom. We joked and laughed about the common things of life, of love, of cheesy flings on a cool and sunny Sunday afternoon. It was a warm and juicy, starry summer's night. My dress was red with yellow flowers painted bright. We laughed and danced all through the night. You pulled me in and held me tight on a warm and juicy, starry summer's night. Oh, the fun, how we played, and we danced every day. Life was sweet, you know what I mean. I thought maybe my ship had come in. It was a hot and sweltry August afternoon. You called, we ought to lunch. I said I'll see you soon. But in your eyes, I sensed a different tune. It left no room for love to bloom on a hot and sweltry August afternoon. Steve Rowland's on the piano. It was a cool and sunny Sunday afternoon. We met to chew the fat, discover what would bloom. We spoke of life, of love, of common things. Turns out our tune was a summer fling on a hot and sweltry August afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me for a moment of music and conversation around the artist's journey from the inside out. I also want to thank Amarilio for manning the helm at Casa Amarilio, which is his recording studio, and for beautifully accompanying me on Whatever Lola Wants. My EP, August Afternoon, is already streaming on all of the streaming platforms. And while you're here, be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can get a heads up about the next episode, which will happen in about a month. Until then, I want to leave you with my new single, punch drunk, which is going to drop in about 4 days. Until then, take care. And remember, it's never about the destination. It's all about the journey from the inside out. And we're dancing like monk, romancing like miles, cruising in style. Love has got me punch drunk. You toe the line, I'm fancy free. You're not my kind, it's clear to see. You're watching time, I scat with glee. You'll fall behind, it's clear to see. Yet we're dancing like monk, romancing like miles, cruising in style. Love has got me punch drunk, but up a dee da day. You say go slow, I double time. You coast on low, I run on high. I'm on the go, you're far behind. This clearly shows you're not my kind. Yet we're dancing like monk, romancing like miles, cruising in style. Love has got me punch drunk, but up a dee da day. They say birds of a feather all flock together through all kinds of weather. There is one that's the fun. Well, I seem to find Henri with my kind. They're boring me blind when where is one. That's no fun. You crave Paris, I want the Nile. You're drinking tea, I'm sipping wine. You'll dine at 3, I'll wait till 9. It's clear to see you're not my kind. Jameson Trotter on piano. You say go slow, I double time. I'm on the go, you're far behind. I scat with glee, you're watching time. You toe the line, I'm fancy free. And we're dancing like monk, romancing like miles, cruising in style. Love has got me drunk. They say birds of a feather all flock together through all kinds of weather. There is one that's the fun. I seem to find Henri with my kind. They're boring me blind when where is one. That's no fun. You say go slow, I double time. You're drinking tea, I'm sipping wine. We're fancy free.